Hi, church family, and happy Wednesday. It's really good to be with you today. I thought I'd change it up a little bit. I'm in my 5K Inua shirt and my workout clothes, and I'm getting ready to go for a run. And so I wanted to just talk with you briefly about both the Inua race that's coming up on Saturday, February 26th, next Saturday, starting at 7:30 a.m. at the Blue Jacket Park. But I also wanted to talk to you about how running is so very connected to our own faith formation. Now, I wouldn't call myself a runner, but I have been running throughout my young adult life just to stay healthy. And it gives me a goal when I have a race that I'm working towards. I love it. So a couple months ago, I signed up for a Disney 10-miler race that's happening in April. And so I've progressively started training and adding distance so that I can be ready for that 10-mile race in April. And as I've been running more and going out and doing distance runs, I was thinking recently about how so much of our running life connects us back to our faith journey. And so I thought I'd use a few little objects to teach us a little bit more about growing in our faith, but then also encouraging you to join me at the Inua 5K race next Saturday at 7:30 a.m. So one thing you absolutely have to have whenever you're running or walking is obvious. We need shoes. So I'm going to pretend to be Fred Rogers for a minute and sit down here and put my running shoes on. And shoes really do make a huge difference. You need shoes that protect, shoes that support. Mine are really worn down, probably need a new pair soon. And shoes that can help you go the distance. You know, Jesus talks a lot about being the hands and feet of Christ in our own world, in our own sphere. And so I think so much of the shoes that we wear tie us back to how are we walking and acting like Jesus. When we encounter people out in the world that know that we are a Christian, that we go to church, that we follow Jesus, how are we walking like Christ? How are we setting an example of which they would want to follow and learn more? And you know, shoes also help us in differing terrain, right? Sometimes following Jesus isn't always easy. Sometimes there's a lot of struggles as we live out our faith, especially right now. But our shoes can help us in any sort of terrain, whether it's rocky, whether it's us running uphill. And shoes also help us be prepared for the journey ahead, right? We all want to finish the race faithfully and as strong witnesses. And so shoes help us do that. So I hope if you come and run and race with us next Saturday that you'll wear some comfortable shoes and you'll be thinking about how you live out your walk with Jesus. Now, another thing we might need in this sunny Florida weather is a hat, right? I like to run with a hat, put my ponytail behind here. This is a runner's hat. And I was thinking, you know, our Jewish brothers and sisters that are of the Orthodox tradition, they always cover their heads. When I lived in Boca, I could tell who was an Orthodox Jewish brother and sister because they always had something covering their heads. Now, the reason they do that is because it reminds them that there is something higher than them called God, called Yahweh, called the Elohim. And sometimes we need that to be reminded of our own humility, right? That there is something more important than ourselves. But I wear a hat when I run to help keep out the glare, right? Whenever you're running, the sun is up usually, and sometimes you turn a corner and the sun is right in your eye, and it's distracting and it distorts, and sometimes it can get you veered off course. And so I was thinking about how we are called to be people that are aware of the things that distract and distort us, and how we're also called to be in a community of people that help call those out in our lives so that we don't get off track, so that the glares in our life, the anxiety, the concerns, the brokenness, the sin, the temptation, the self-doubt, that doesn't distract us from running the race well, right? We have a community of people around us. Maybe it's a small group, a Bible study, a Sunday school class, the people that love us and hold us accountable so that we don't get distracted and distorted when the sun shines a glare in our face. So what are the pieces of hats in your own life? So we have our shoes, we have our hat, and one of the last things we need is water. Obviously, it gets really hot, even in February in Florida. And so we often need water to help us and to sustain us. Jesus talks a lot about being water and being the living water. Now, part of that is because we need water to survive, right? It's part of our biological makeup, but it also nourishes us and it sustains us. And so when I start running longer distances, I can't carry this around. I'll wear a water pack with me as I run so that I can stay hydrated on my run. But how are you living out the water in your own life? Jesus calls himself the living water, which means that there is nothing else in the world more sustaining and more nourishing than the love and grace of Jesus Christ. Everything else will fall short. We need that water, and it's the water that never runs dry. We can keep going back to the well, as he tells the woman at the well. Right? We can keep coming back to the living water, and it'll never run out because we need it to both nourish us and sustain us. So how are you drinking from the living water? Are you in worship week in and week out? Are you giving of your time, your treasure, your prayers, your witness? Are you serving somewhere, somehow? Are you pouring into the life of somebody else? Are you mentoring or tutoring or sending encouraging notes to people that need it most? How are you dipping in to the living water through the community of faith? So I leave those things with you: shoes, hat, and water. And of course, you need good music. I hope that you'll join me on Saturday, February 26th at 7:30 a.m. at Blue Jacket Park as we become partners in hope together, raising funds and raising hope for the brothers and sisters in Naivasha, Kenya. I hope you'll start training and getting ready to walk or run with me on the Inua 5K race. I'll see you then. God bless.